What is up guys, Taiki here, and welcome to Farms of the Week, where I'll be going over the farms I'm currently in, as well as the farms I'm watching. So if you like the content, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment in the comment section below, so let's get started. Okay, so I want to just first touch on the price of Luna, just because it's been going ballistic, right? Outside of Solana and Axie Infinity, I feel like it's one of the few altcoins in the top 50 that actually breached its previous all-time highs. And I'm pretty proud of this call because I identified Luna as a really good play in early July, and on July 4th I made this hour-long video with Terabytes going over like why I think this is a good place to deploy capital. And obviously since I made that video, you had like 2 to 3 weeks to accumulate, and then it just ran away, right? So I guess this is an example of like doing your research, right? Because if you look back to what I was talking about in May, I said that hey, like markets are bearish, let's just farm stable coins and accumulate assets that we want to hold for the longer term. And in May and June, I only accumulated Bitcoin just because things were still, I guess, uncertain. And then in July, I guess I just like bought Luna just because I'm like, oh wow, there's so much opportunities here. And obviously, it's one of the few altcoins that has gone up so much. I did miss out on Solana. I'll touch on Solana later, but I think, anyone that like listened to me and like did their own research, I'm sure you're happy with the entire Luna ecosystem and whatever gains you have on that play. So let's go over what I'm actually doing on the Terra ecosystem. So those that know, roughly 5 weeks ago, I deployed 16.4K into the Terra ecosystem. I converted roughly 40% of the capital into Luna, and 10K I just put into the stablecoin, right, earning a bunch of yield. And right now, the portfolio setup I have now is yielding roughly 48% yield, right? And if you think about it, like, this is also an example of like, you don't have to like go all in on volatile assets to make money in crypto, because I only deployed 40% of my stack into Luna. Obviously, Luna going up 3x is a big factor, but also I've been farming mirror tokens and anchor tokens, and a lot of them. And it's kind of crazy. Like the mirror and the anchor farm is pretty nuts. So let's go over to the mirror and anchor farm. So first, touching on anchor, just because Luna has gone up so much, I decided to borrow more dollars against it, right? This used to be $3,500 last week, but now it's $5,500, right? So I just added $2,000 more, yielding 19%. And if you want to learn more about the Luna ecosystem, I suggest you watch my video I posted on, last Friday, where I discussed the Columbus 5 upgrade with Danku and Joseph. Great follows on Twitter and YouTube. Essentially, the major update is that first you can have ETH on Anchor, right? So you can put your ETH as collateral and borrow against it and be paid to do so, which is great. I'm not doing this right now just because it's really hard to get BETH, right? Right now you have to go to the Ethereum mainnet and pay like a couple $100 in gas fees. I'm not about that. I'm waiting for easier ways to get BETH, which will probably come in the next couple of weeks. But with the additional money I'm borrowing, I'm just putting it in the Earn tab right here, right? So you can't really see the full 5,500 because some of it is bonded onto Mirror, right? This is the rest of the UST I put into Anchor, and I'm not going to go over it in this video. I have a playlist on Terra if you're interested, but the cool thing about this ecosystem is that you can deposit dollars on Anchor, earning 19.5%, and you can use the claim on these dollars, right? AUST, and you can put it in as collateral here, right? So 5 weeks ago, I put 11.5K into Anchor. Now I'm using that as collateral to short farm gold, and now my position is worth $200 more, right? So this position is earning yield, and I'm using that yield bearing asset as collateral to short farm gold. The gold farm is like doing really, really well. I also longed Galaxy, right? I'm in a short farm of gold and a long farm of Galaxy, and I'm up roughly 10% on this position. So yeah, I think Terra is a really underrated ecosystem. I think it's actually a really good risk-off ecosystem, right? Because you don't even have to have exposure to Luna. You can just like buy stocks and be paid to do so. So if you look at the farm tab, for example, if you're bullish the NASDAQ, or this is not the NASDAQ, this is the NASDAQ. If you're bullish the NASDAQ, right, it's just American tech stocks, you can be paid 36% to long like tech stocks. That's insane. And I talked about this in my live stream yesterday, but in like roughly 5 weeks, I earned like almost $300 worth of Mirror. And it's kind of crazy because there are people out there that like buy mirror tokens on Coinbase, right? And here I am just farming it for essentially free, right? Because I'm up money on my gold short, I'm up money on my Galaxy long, and on top of that, on cherry on top, I get free mirror tokens. And Anchor, obviously this net APR is being paid out in the Anchor token, right? Because I'm paying 23% on my dollars, but I'm being paid 42% in the Anchor token. And yeah, it's roughly $176 worth of Anchor tokens, all in 5 weeks. So, you know, and this is mostly dollar denominated, right? Even if I didn't buy Luna, I can still earn this opportunity. So Terra, underrated. I guess it's not so underrated now. I guess it was underrated when Terra was like at $6. But you know, now people are taking notice, people are doing their research, and honestly, I don't know if Terra is a good buy. I'm sure if you take a 5-year time horizon, yeah, it's a great buy, but I mean, not financial advice. You know, I covered it here. Now, I don't know, right? You gotta do your own research. And the one farm that people overlook on Luna is this Luna to bLUNA farm on TerraSwap, right? So if you provide liquidity for Luna and bonded Luna, you can be paid 22% APR. So this is not, you're not taking on much impermanent loss risk just because, I mean, they're both like assets. bLUNA does have a premium, I believe, but you know, this is something that might interest you if you just want to buy a bunch of Luna because you're super bullish and you just want to earn a yield on it, right? You can just, if you don't want to stake your Luna, you can earn 22%. So there's that. And also, so I'm done with Terra now. I'm going to quickly touch on Avalanche. I spent like 20 minutes on this on my live stream, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But you know, BenQi is a money market that's going to launch on Avalanche on the 19th of August, right? Where you can use AVAX, ETH, Link, Bitcoin, and some stable coins as collateral and borrow against it, right? It's a money market. And it's backed by the Avalanche team, which is really, really bullish, right? $3 million of AVAX rewards. And there's going to be the key token, the QI token, the BenQi token will also be, you can also be able to farm it as well. So I'll definitely be placing my assets there. If you want to hear my thesis on it, then check out the live stream. So let's touch on Polygon because, you know, I feel like I've been in Polygon for, let's say, like 4 months now, and Polygon is obviously a really great place to be, but I feel like I'm gonna just, I guess, diversify my assets into other ecosystems, right? Because sure, Curve is great, right? I have some dollars into on Curve here, right? Earning, let's say, like 12%, like always good. I'm also farming DeFi here, right? And with the USDT farm, I pulled out a Dino swap last week just because, you know, I felt like I had a thesis where my stop loss was $1.60, and even when the token went below that price, I kind of was like holding out hope that it would do well. But like I always say, like never marry a farm, and hope is not a strategy. And I feel like I kind of had like a psychological, or mentally I was like kind of attached to Dino, and I kind of was hoping. And when I noticed that, I'm like, okay, like I gotta stick to my thesis. I had a plan going into it, and when that plan doesn't work out, I just have to get out. So pulled out a Dino, put my USDT pool is in here, and the dollars that I made, I'm putting it in Curve. But I might even take out some assets from Polygon just because I think there's opportunity cost, right? First, on Avalanche, this might be a good one. I don't know what the rates are going to be, but it might be good. Also, Cardano is coming up next month. I also covered it yesterday on my live stream, so check it out there. And also, I'll touch on Solana later too. But before I talk about Solana, I just want to quickly touch on mStable. This is, by the way, I'll provide links to all of this in the description below. But this is similar to Curve, right? mStable is a really well-capitalized project with a bunch of VCs and investors, so I consider them to be pretty safe. It's similar to Curve where you can deposit stablecoins, right? And you can stake those stablecoins to earn MTA and MATIC rewards. So right now you can, if you put your dollars in here, you can earn 6% roughly plus 18%, like 23%-ish total, 23.5%, which is pretty good. So it doesn't mean, like, if I were to like withdraw assets from Polygon, it doesn't mean that I'm bearish Polygon. It just means that, you know, I think there are better opportunities out there. And like I always say, I'm not a Polygon maxi, I'm a yield maxi. I go where the yields are safe, with a good risk return. Speaking of which, let's talk about Solana, right? Because like I mentioned, it's one of the few coins that actually breached all-time highs before Bitcoin did, right? I think it's Axie Infinity, Luna, and Solana are like the only 3 tokens that have breached all-time highs. And it kind of caught my eye because I wasn't that interested in Solana just because there's no money market, right? But the thing is, when you're farming, you want to follow the hot ball of money. You want to go where the money is because that's essentially where all the projects are going to be built. That's where all the attention is going to be. So despite having no money market, a lot of these farms have, I guess, locked in a bunch of liquidity, which makes me think, if a money market does go online, right? If Aave does go online, or if a project like Solana, they have like a cap limit on like amount of money they can take in. This is also a money market, and Mango is also like a pseudo money market too. But there isn't like a full, like a pure money market play on Solana. I feel like if Aave hypothetically were to launch on Solana, like Aave is gonna have like 10 billions locked into Solana, and this ecosystem is gonna thrive. I mean, this ecosystem is already thriving, but it's something that I think people should look into. And don't get me wrong, I'm still in the research phase, right? But let's just go over some farms that I think is pretty good. So first is called Saber. This is basically like Curve on Solana, right? It's just trading like assets. And if you look at all these yields here, it's pretty insane. For Bitcoin, you can earn 48%. Like, that's crazy. Also, this is another, I don't know what PBTC is, but it's for swapping like assets. So you're not really taking on impermanent loss risk, but you can earn actually 40 to 60% yield. Pretty nuts. By the way, like, I haven't really done research on like how safe these things are, so always do your own research. But I'm just briefly going over what I'm looking out for, right? I have no funds on Solana right now. Mercurial is also an interesting one. It's not as high as a Saber, but you can put UST, USDT, wrapped UST, or in USDC and earn 34%. So if you're more of a risk-averse person and you just want to earn yield on your stable coins or Bitcoin, then this is a good one. I think, you can earn 17% on Solana, 14% on Serum, 34% on FTT. I mean, it's pretty good, I believe. Lastly, I'll touch on Raydium. I'm not a huge fan of Raydium in terms of farms, just because, I guess it's a good farm, but I'm not really too bullish the token just because it's so inflationary. But these are also pretty good farms that you can look into, where you can provide liquidity for, various assets. They all have impermanent loss risk, so obviously the rewards are going to be much higher. But, Cope Ray is a pretty good one, I believe. Mercurial Ray, I mean, I'm sure most of these projects aren't scams, and they're not going to die. You are taking on impermanent loss risk, obviously, but if you want to earn yield on your Ray tokens that you might have, provide liquidity for Ray ETH, earn 76% paid in Ray tokens. Something to look into. So definitely looking into other ecosystems more. I feel like I was kind of complacent in the last couple of weeks, just because I was so focused on Luna and how great it's been doing. And I'm really happy that Luna has made me a lot of money, but I feel like, I kind of overlooked Solana as a potential ecosystem. I think Solana, it's still really early in the Solana ecosystem. Same goes for Avalanche, Cardano, Polkadot, Phantom, etc. But, I think it pays to be open-minded. It pays to look into other ecosystems, because if you're in the know about like what's actually happening in these other blockchains, then it might present a good opportunity for you, right? Because if you knew that the Solana ecosystem is thriving, then maybe you could have longed Solana during the dip, right? I overlooked it, my problem. But the one thing I did, I guess that I did get right was, okay, like I knew the Terra ecosystem was thriving, so after an 80% dip, I just bought, and I just like earned yield on it, and now it's going up. So just wanna talk about just don't be an ecosystem maxi. Be more open-minded. Look at other ecosystems. An ecosystem like Avalanche, Dot, Phantom, Harmony. There's not much being built, but I suggest everyone follow them on Twitter. Maybe follow a few of their projects and just keep up with the news, right? Because there is going to be a Phantom season. There is going to be a Harmony season. I don't think it's coming just yet. I think right now it's mostly Solana and Luna season. Maybe Avalanche, maybe Cardano soon, but just keep up with the news. I think that's the most alpha that you can do yourself, because just using me as a data source. I'm always doing research, but it's going to be impossible for me to catch all the pumps, and also it's kind of impossible to catch all the pumps too, right? Like, don't expect to catch all the pumps. Like, I'd rather be really good at like 3 ecosystems than be like average at like 7 ecosystems. It just doesn't make sense. So hopefully this video was helpful. I went over a lot of things here. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section below, and have fun farming out there.